So what's going on, guys? You're watching Simple Web Tutorial. Today we're gonna be building, kind of replicating Facebook's classic version of Chat UI from scratch using HTML, CSS, and a little tiny bit of JavaScript. So if you want to learn how to build it, I would suggest to watch the entire video so you will have an idea how things work when we put it together. Also, if you're new and want to learn front-end development, just hit the subscribe button and click the little bell icon so you won't miss whenever I upload awesome UI development tutorials. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. So before we begin, let's have a quick look this simple setup to start with. So you will see here the index.html with the h1 tag, the style CSS. If you watched the last video, I explained why I did this in all of my project. And then I targeted the body tag just to change the font family, the background, and a little bit of padding. So in here, there's the icon. So don't mind this .vs code folder. So this will be the icons that we are going to use for this tutorial. And so for this icon, you can also use whatever icons you like for, but in this case, I will use this one. And also you can check out the GitHub link for this project in the description down below. So first, let me open up the live server. Next, we will start building the chat UI. So let me close this project explorer, and then add a div with the ID of chat bubble. Next, add another div with a class of no, with a class of chat container. And then the first part is to add another div with a class of chat header. So this will be the chat header, and then you will see here we have a user avatar and its name and also its user status. So we're gonna build that one. Chat header. Inside the chat header, let's create another div with the class of user avatar. So you can also name whatever class you like, user avatar, and then add another div for the image container for the user avatar. So let's add the image. So I will just use the Unsplash API, so we will have a random image. So we don't need to download any image for this user's avatar. And then below the image container, we will add another div called user status info, and then add an anchor tag for the name, the user's name, and a p tag for the user's status. Let's check what we have so far. So we're done in the first part of the header, which is the username and then status. So this will be our first part in the chat header, and now we will build icons here. So let's create that one. So below the user, this will be our first part. So below this one, we will add another div, and I will name it chatcom or chat communication. It's just the random name for that. And add a nav tag, also an anchor tag with the image for the icon. So I don't know how you There's a lot of ways to implement or to add icons, but in my case I will just add the image that I grab from the internet. So it's inside the icons and call on the video call dot svg. So let's remove this one for now, and then add the second icon, which is this one, and for this one, click save. So there you go. So we're done for the chat header. So this will what it looks like right now, but don't worry about it because we will style it later on. So that's pretty much it, the chat header. And now let's head to the chat body. So add another div here with a class of chat body, and then let's add another div here with a class of no with a class of sender others. So this will be the container for the other person of the chat. So in this case we are building a one-on-one chat, which is you and the other user. So this will be its main container for the other person, and then you will see here there's another user avatar and his message. So let's add that one, so we can also reuse the name, the class name for the user avatar. Add an image. Again, we'll try to use the Unsplash API so we can have a random image. And then, but before this one, we will add another div with a class name of image container. And then below the image container, another div with a class of other message. So it's the other person's message. And then after this one, we will make another div for your message. So this is pretty straightforward. Sender other and sender me. Then add. So in Facebook's chat UI, if you are the sender of the message, there's no more user avatar like the other person's message. We will just add another div with the class of my message. And also, you can see right here, we also added the scene status for your message. So we will add that one below the my message and create another div with a class of scene add. Of course, you can also name it as you want, and then add an image for the check icon right here. Icons, and add the message scene, just like that. And then that's it for the message. So we will head to the chat footer. So this will be our chat header. This part here is our chat body, and this part right here, this will be our chat footer. We will create another div with a class name of chat footer and add the input with a type of text area, because this is where we're gonna type our message. Add a placeholder of type a message. And then we will create div, and I will name it uh chat media. Put it inside the nav, then image. Yeah. And also we will add a class of, yeah, upload. And then next, and the last one will be outside the nav for the like button. Like that is VG. Yeah, and also don't forget the class name of like. So I think that's it for the HTML. So let's check what we have so far. So there will be a full blown picture right here, or image right here. So we're gonna be fixing this one with the CSS. So first, before we begin, let's add more CSS for the body. Let's add a position relative, and also let's put a fixed viewport height, because right now we don't have any content for our main page. So let's add that one. Then next, let's target the, let's remove this one. Let's target this element right here. So it's called the one shot bubble, and add fixed height of 55 pixels and overflow hidden, just to make sure nothing's gonna spill over the or overlay the div or the container. Background color of white, and add a position. This time we will add the absolute um position, and then let's put it at the bottom of the page, bottom 0, and right 50 pixels, so we will have a little bit of margin for the right side. And also we will put a border 1 pixel solid, and just a darker gray. Save. Let's save this one also, 'cause so this is what we have so far. Next we will add, or we will call on the chat bubble again with a class of open, and this will be the class when we open the chat message. 350 pixels. So right now it won't do that one because we don't have a class name of open here yet. So later on we will add a little bit of JavaScript to handle that one. So next we will target the chat header. For the chat header, we will add display flex, align item center, and then justify the content space between. So what will happen here? So if you can remember uh the username, the user avatar, the username, and the user status, and the other icons that we added earlier is being stacked to each other. When we're going to add this display flex, align item center, justify content, we will have this one. So we can now see the icons from the right side, and also for the user avatar from the left side. Next, let's add a minimum height of 25 pixel, and then a position relative, and add z index of 10, a little bit of padding, box shadow 0, 2 pixel, 1 pixel, just the black, and add cursor pointer. So we will have this kind of cursor when we hover over the chat header. The background color of white. Save. Next, we will call on the chat header hover, add a little bit of darker white, and add a transition over here. Call on the background to animate the background color one when we hover the chat header element is in. Click save. So I don't know if you can see that one, but it now have a hover effect. Next, let's target the user avatar element or div. So add a display flex again, and then add flex 1. So this will sit right next to image. Next, we will call on the user avatar, add a border radius 50%, so we will have a round image, margin right of 8 pixel, just like that. Moving on, let's call on the user avatar image container. Let's add position relative. We will now adding the online or active status indicator for the user. So let's add that one. Let's call on the user avatar image container, and to the selector of after. Content of, yeah, just an empty space, width of 10 pixel, height of 10 pixel, and the background color, which is the gray 71B, and set it to position absolute. Right will be 4 pixels and the bottom will be 4 pixels. Add a border radius of 50% again to make it round or circle. Then add border 2 pixels solid white. So there you have it. So next we will be styling the username. So next we will be styling the user's name. So let's target user avatar, user status info. So currently we are looking or targeting this part, info, and call on the anchor tag and set it to font size 13 pixels, a margin 0, text decoration none, and then font weight bold, and a color of black. So that's it. Next we will be styling the user or status. Let's call on avatar user status info p, set it to font size, no, not font weight, font size 11 pixel, and set it to color just the normal gray. Save, and then there you have it. Next, we will be styling the icons. So this one, let's call on chatcom or chat communication, and also we will set it to display none first. Yeah, but before that, call the chatcom anchor tags and remove the underline. Call on the chatcom anchor tag and not do not include, so the meaning of this one is just like do not include the last child. So basically we call all the anchor tags inside the chatcom element or chatcom div, but we will not include the last child. Add a margin right of 8 pixels. Save, and there you have it. But you can see here, when the chat UI is closed, there's no icons right here. It will just appear when we open it. So for now, let's add this display none, and we will add the JavaScript code for that later, but we will prepare its CSS. So whenever the chat bubble is open, look for the chat com element and set it to display block, so it will display once we open the chat box, or chat box. Save. Now let's move on to the chat body. Go on the chat body, just add a little bit of padding, just small room to breathe for the content. Padding 8 pixel, and then let's call on the sender other, and the user avatar, and the image container, and the actual image element. Let's set it to 25 pixel, because right here the final output, the image is slightly smaller than the image in the chat header. So let's set that to with 25 pixel, and of course let's adjust the active status indicator right here. So let's call on the one sender other, user avatar, image container after. So right now we will just override the width, the height, the right, the bottom. So the reason why we call just this for CSS property, it is because if you can remember, we already set the CSS part of the actual active status indicator. So all we have to do is to resize that one and then align it well. So next, let's target the sender other message. I apologize for the class naming for this one. So I just keep it as simple as possible. So you can name whatever class you like or whatever class you prefer. So add a background color of F1, F0, F0, and let's add border radius 25 pixels. So The part that we're working on right now is this part. It's background and border radius. So for now, let's open this chat box. For now, we will just manually add the CSS or the class open so we can see the chat body of our chat box. So let's get back to the CSS. Add a border radius of 25 pixels, a padding of 8 pixel top and bottom, and 11 pixel left and right. Set it to font size of 14 pixels. Hit save. Yeah, sorry for that. Border radius, not just border. Border radius. Next, we will be calling on the sender me element or div. Add display flex because the sender me will set to the right of the right portion of the chat body. We will add display flex, and the flex direction of column. So I will explain later why we put that one, and then align items to flex end. So why we put it flex direction column? Because right here we have sender me, and inside the sender me there's another div or another two div, which is the my message and the scene at. So the display or the CSS flexbox flex direction property, by default it sets to row, or we just comment that one and then check like that. And then let's call on the sender me my message, background color of 35 78 E5, and color of just a white, border radius of 25 pixels again, padding of 8 pixels top and bottom and 11 pixels left and right, font size of 14 pixels. So like that. So right now we will add, or we will set this one to flex direction column. So why is that? So currently, when you set display flex box, by default the flex direction for this one is set to row. And as you can see in our HTML code here, inside the sender me there's two div, which is the my message div and the scene at message. So that is why if we save that one, it will just display, the text will be displayed at the bottom of the image, where if we going to, so if we set that, if we save this, you can see that the hello and the scene message here, or the scene at message here, will be right next to the hello message. It is because of the flex direction, or the default value of the flex direction in CSS flexbox is set to row. So we have to change that to column. So that's it. So next we will call on the scene at element. Sender me scene at display flex, align items of center, call 90949C, font size of 11 pixels, and margin top 8 pixel. So we will have, oh, let's fix first the image right here. Image with the class of, yeah, we'll add class here. Let's put it check, check, width. Let's add a width of 12 pixel. Sure, we have the class check, and then margin right of 4 pixel. Save that one, and there you have it. So next we will be designing or styling chat footer. Chat footer. Let's call on the chat footer border top 1 pixel. Add a position of absolute just to make sure it sits at the bottom of the chat container or chat main container. Bottom 0, width of 100 pixels, and then add a padding tab. Padding top of 8 pixels. Save. Next, let's call on the chat footer input with the type of text area. So why we need to do this? So we need to do this because we just want to select the input with the type of text area. So if we don't add this one, this will target all input, and whatever CSS we add here, it will affect to all inputs inside the chat footer. So we don't want that. So let's put it back there. Then width of 100 pixel, remove the border, padding 0, 8 pixel. Let's target the chat footer input text, no, type text area, and the focus. We want to remove the outline. Next, let's target the chat media. This one right here. Chat media. Anchor tag. Ano? Add a display flex. Align item center. Justify content space between, because you can see here there's a two set of part for the chat media. This one and this one. Justify content just to have a space between the two element, the nav and the anchor tag here. And then add a padding of 8 pixel. The next, let's call on the anchor tags. We need to remove again the text decoration, and then let's call on all the anchor tag inside the chat media div, but we will not include again the last child. So we will add margin right 8 pixel. So let's resize the image right now. Image no, not image container, chat media image. We will set that to with 18 pixel. Click save. Include the camera. Let's add the camera here. Camera, camera. There. So if you can see here, the width for the icons is not equal. So that is the reason why we have these classes here, so we can call each one of them to set the size individually. But if you are using a icon library such as the font awesome, will be automatically set to what size you want. So let's call on the chat media pixel, and there you have it. So right now it will not work because we need to add the JavaScript for this one. So for this, we need to remove this one, the class open, because we will add it using the JavaScript when we click this part right here. So let's add an on click method for the user avatar part. On click open chat bubble. Yeah, that is the function. Let's copy this one, and we will add script tag at the bottom of the body tag. Script, let's make a function called open chat bubble, and then declare an element here and call on the document get element by ID. In my case, it's a chat bubble. And then let's call on the element that class list toggle. So if we will click the user avatar again, it will toggle the class open. Save, and then refresh. So right now it's opening. Close. It will not work right here. It is because we need to add this method again for the close. Just like that. Close. And that's it. So if you find this video helpful, please leave a like and click the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you will get notified once I upload new awesome video just like this one. Let me know if you have a suggestion of what we're gonna be building next, and just leave it in the comment section below. And also, if you want to get the final project for this tutorial, I will just leave a GitHub link in the description below so you can download it from GitHub. So thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.